There is something strange happening in your life right now, even if you cannot fully see it yet. A quiet shift is taking place beneath the surface of your ordinary days. It is subtle, almost invisible, but it is real. And if you have been feeling restless lately, if you have been sensing that something is changing without knowing exactly what it is, this message may be arriving at exactly the right moment. For a long time, you may have felt as though you were walking through the same cycle again and again. The same worries, the same doubts, the same unanswered questions. You kept moving forward because that is what strong people do. You carried responsibilities. You showed up for others. You tried your best to keep going, even when your heart felt tired. But deep inside, there was a quiet voice asking whether life could become something more. That voice was never wrong. Sometimes the biggest changes do not begin with a dramatic event. They do not arrive with loud announcements or sudden miracles. Sometimes they begin in silence. A new chapter starts long before you can see the first page. The seed begins growing long before it breaks through the soil. And in the same way, your life can begin transforming long before the evidence appears. The next 7 days may not seem extraordinary when they begin. The sun will rise as it always does. The world around you may look exactly the same. People may continue behaving the same way. Your surroundings may remain unchanged. Yet something inside you is preparing for a different reality. You have spent so much time looking for answers outside yourself. You search for signs. You search for certainty. You search for a reason to believe that better days were coming. But what if the sign you've been waiting for is already here? What if this feeling inside you, this quiet sense that something is about to happen, is not your imagination at all? There are moments in life when your soul knows before your mind understands. The challenges you have faced were never meaningless. Every disappointment carried a lesson. Every delay shaped your strength. Every moment when you felt forgotten taught you how to keep believing when there was no proof. You may not have understood why certain doors closed. You may not have understood why some people left. You may not have understood why your path felt more difficult than expected. But one day, the pieces begin connecting. One day, what seemed like rejection reveals itself as protection. One day, what felt like an ending becomes the beginning of something far greater. And perhaps that day is approaching faster than you realize. Over the next week, pay attention to the small things. Not because they predict the future, but because they reveal your presence within it. Notice the conversations that unexpectedly touch your heart. Notice the ideas that keep returning to your mind. Notice the moments when you feel a sudden sense of peace for no reason at all. These moments matter. Life often whispers before it speaks loudly. The opportunities that change your future rarely arrive wearing bright signs. More often, they appear quietly. They arrive disguised as ordinary moments. A new perspective, a chance encounter, a decision to trust yourself, a realization that you no longer need permission to become who you were meant to be. The truth is that your life does not change when circumstances suddenly become perfect. Your life changes when something within you becomes ready. And readiness is growing inside you now. You are becoming less willing to settle for what drains your spirit. You're becoming less interested in living according to fear. You're starting to recognize your own worth, even if only in small ways. You are beginning to understand that you do not have to remain the person you were yesterday. Growth often feels strange because it asks you to leave behind familiar limitations. The old version of you may still carry doubts. It may. You do not need all the answers today. You do not need to know exactly how everything will unfold. You only need enough faith to take the next step. And sometimes that single step changes everything. As this chapter begins unfolding, remember something important. The future is not arriving to punish you for your past. It is arriving to reveal what your past was preparing you for. Every lesson, every struggle, every moment of uncertainty has shaped the person who is standing here now. And that person is stronger than they know. Something is shifting. Something is opening. Something beautiful is moving toward you, even if you cannot see it yet. The next 7 days may hold more possibility than you realize. Not because the universe suddenly changed its mind about you, but because you're finally becoming ready to receive what has been waiting for you all along. And this is only the beginning. As you move through the coming days, there's one thing you must remember. Change does not always announce itself. Sometimes it arrives quietly, slipping into your life through moments that seem ordinary at first. A thought that feels different, a decision that feels lighter, a sense of clarity where confusion once lived. These are often the first signs that something meaningful is unfolding. For so long, you may have measured your progress by what you could see. You looked at results. You looked at circumstances. You looked at whether life appeared different on the outside. But some of the most important transformations happen where no one else can see them. They happen within your thoughts, your beliefs, your perspective, and your spirit. Right now, there are parts of you that are waking up. You may notice that certain fears no longer have the same power over you. Situations that once consumed your energy may suddenly seem smaller. Problems that felt impossible may begin revealing solutions. This is not because life has become easier overnight. It is because you are becoming stronger. Strength is not always loud. Sometimes strength is choosing peace when chaos surrounds you. Sometimes strength is trusting yourself after years of doubt. Sometimes strength is simply continuing forward when every part of you wants to give up. And if you're here listening to these words, there is a good chance you have already shown that strength more times than you realize. Think about everything you have survived. Think about every challenge that once seemed impossible. Think about every night you believed you would never get through, yet somehow you did. There's a reason you are still here. There's a reason your story continues. The experiences that try to break you also revealed something important. They showed you that you are more resilient than you ever imagined. They showed you that even in your weakest moments, there was still a light inside you refusing to. Your ability to keep loving despite disappointment. Your willingness to keep hoping despite uncertainty. These qualities matter more than you know. The world often teaches people to value achievement above all else. It encourages constant striving, constant comparison, and constant pressure. But deep fulfillment comes from something else. It comes from alignment. It comes from becoming the person you were meant to be rather than trying to become the person others expect you to be. And perhaps that is one of the changes approaching you now. A return to yourself. Not the version shaped by fear. Not the version shaped by other people's opinions. But the version that has been quietly waiting beneath all the noise. The version that remembers what truly matters. The version that knows peace is not found by controlling everything. It is found by trusting life enough to let it unfold. This trust does not mean every day will be perfect. There will still be moments of uncertainty. There will still be questions without immediate answers. There will still be situations that challenge your patience. But something inside you is changing. Instead of resisting every unknown, you are learning to walk with it. Instead of fearing every possibility, you are learning to welcome it. Instead of assuming the worst, you are beginning to leave room for something beautiful. This shift is powerful because the quality of your life is shaped not only by what happens to you, but by how you meet what happens. Imagine waking up 7 days from now with a lighter heart. Imagine carrying less worry. Imagine feeling more connected to yourself. Imagine recognizing opportunities that once passed unnoticed. Imagine trusting your path, even when you cannot see the entire road ahead. These changes may seem small, but together they create a completely different experience of life. Transformation is rarely a single moment. It is a collection of moments, a collection of choices. You may realize that life was never withholding anything from you. It was preparing you, preparing your heart, preparing your mind, preparing your spirit, preparing you for the version of yourself that could fully receive what was coming. As these next 7 days unfold, move forward with curiosity instead of fear. Move forward with openness instead of resistance. Move forward with the understanding that you do not need to force every outcome. Some things are meant to be pursued. Others are meant to be allowed. And wisdom comes from learning the difference. Right now, you stand on the edge of possibility. You may not know exactly what the future holds. You may not know which opportunities are approaching or which lessons are still ahead, but you do know this. You have made it through every chapter before this one. You have survived every difficult season. You have carried yourself through moments you once believed would break you. And because of that, you can trust yourself to meet whatever comes next. The coming days are not asking you to become someone new. They are inviting you to remember who you have always been. Strong, capable, worthy, resilient, and deeply connected to a future that is still unfolding. So take a breath and allow yourself to believe. Believe that positive change is possible. Believe that growth is happening even when it cannot be seen. Believe that your life can shift in ways you never expected. Believe that the best chapters are not always the ones you planned. Sometimes they are the ones that arrive when you finally stop doubting your own light. Your life is changing. Not someday, not eventually. It is already happening. And 7 days from now, you may look back and realize that this was the moment everything quietly began.